Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Maverick family. Hello, new viewers. Oh, boy. It was nice while it lasted. If it ever really existed. It looks like the Middle East peace ceasefire is toast. Also, firing munitions, live munitions, over I-5 in Southern California. What else do we have to talk about tonight? I'm sure we'll get into the Ostrich stuff a little bit out in Edgewood, British Columbia. There's stuff happening out there. And, Donald Trump, no kings, protests, the fallout, and Donald Trump's temper tantrum in the wake of all that. It's kind of gross, actually, and it's very graphic. I will show you when we come back on the other side. If we have time. I know you've been waiting, some of you, just waiting in the shadows, some of you, for another open line broadcast. And today is going to be, if we have time, Open Line Sunday. So we'll go to the phones and give you guys a chance to weigh in on today's top news stories of the day. I'll be right back. Don't go away.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so where are we going to start tonight? Let's do this one because this is pretty important. Let me see if I can find this for you. I didn't actually cue this up because it's new. Okay, hang on here. We're going to go into the Middle East. This really breaking just within last couple of hours. I believe. Oh my goodness. You know what? Just give me a second here. Okay, I think this will help. Here we go, scrolling down. I need the video because I need to show you this. I kept saying that I think that it will be very difficult to keep the ceasefire intact. And indeed, we're seeing tonight that Israel has launched new attacks into Gaza. And here's this. Okay, this is 2 hours ago. And all right, let me show you this one. I'm sorry, it was fairly new, and I didn't actually queue up the video for it, so I probably shouldn't have started the broadcast with it, but here we go. Gaza families run for their lives as drones strike a camp, and new footage shows chaos and fires as families flee Israeli drone strikes in a Gazan refugee camp, despite a ceasefire being in place. Israel has hit Gaza around 50 times since the ceasefire started. And these reports indicate that Israel blocked all aid, blaming Hamas for breaking the deal. Kids are running through fire while world leaders stay silent. This is what is being written by TRT World. Now, there's no question. We have seen violence over there ever since the ceasefire began. It hasn't been, honestly, in my view, much of a ceasefire. This is posted 2 hours ago, so I'm not exactly sure when this occurred, but the post is 2 hours old. Yeah. And there was more. See if I can find you the other video that I saw just before coming on air. I mean, we're not even talking yet about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. Israel hits this armed group in northern Gaza. This is another video. Okay, here we go. So look at this. You tell me, does this look like peace to you? Does this look like Nobel Peace Prize material? It's a strange world we're living in right now, where reality is shaped and maybe even dictated to people by what a guy in the White House says. Identification of armed terrorists approaching IDF troops in the area of Beit Lahia. So they're saying they're terrorists. This is IDF footage, surveillance footage, I think, from a drone. And so they show these people entering an area in Gaza. I believe they're saying this is behind the yellow line. And so they took them out. Strike on armed terrorists, they say. And there it is. So yellow line, green line in Gaza. And that does not look like peace to me. But hey, what do I know? How many strikes does it take to break a ceasefire? And here's the other footage, also from tonight. This saying that this is from Scent Defender, and the caption here is: the ceasefire deal in Gaza is basically toast. Ceasefire in Gaza, yeah, that's gone now. It says Israeli warplanes just lit up the sky with fresh airstrikes, hitting targets around Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. There's a wall of smoke plumes stretching across the horizon like a row of exploding ink blots. The strikes come after rising tensions and signal that any hopes of a pause in fighting are quickly going up in smoke. I will show you the video evidence of that, and I have high confidence that this is real and not AI. Here we go. That doesn't look like peace to me. So, prove me wrong. Or change my mind. Whatever, however you want to approach it. It's not looking good to me. If you think that's looking good, you can tell me otherwise, I guess. But no, I don't think so. And all that fanfare, all that pomp and circumstance over the past week, with all the world leaders coming to congratulate Donald Trump. And some of them say, oh, you do deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, Donald Trump. Yeah, okay. Just a reminder that on November 1st, we will be live streaming this, the State of Our Nation Gala for the People's Party of Canada. So we're going to be carrying that. We are going to be like the official live stream for the broadcast. And they have quite a number of speakers, including, of course, Maxime Bernier, the party leader, Jeff Evely, and some others, some other headliners there. So make sure you tune in for that, because you're not going to see that on mainstream media. And we do give pretty much everybody a voice on this program. It doesn't mean you get to come on here and dominate and cause problems, but we give everybody a voice. We talk to everybody on all sides of all issues, and the conversation can continue as long as it's respectful and cordial. But, sometimes people get a little out of hand, and we have to rein things in, dial things back a little bit. We'll see how it goes tonight. It was the Sunday talk show day, right? Talk show day, or I guess it's news magazine program day. Maybe that's the better way to describe it, with Zelensky appearing on NBC today. And so in this interview released today on Meet the Press, Zelensky urges Trump to get tougher with Putin and says he is ready to meet in Budapest. We have the clip, we have the video, we have the evidence. And it seems to me that Zelensky and Ukraine basically at this point playing a long game. Trump changes his mind on things like Tomahawk missiles from one day to the next. Took that phone call. Prior to the meeting with Zelensky, he had said that they were looking at sending Tomahawks to Ukraine. Then, just before the meeting, Putin phones Trump the day before, and then Trump comes into the meeting and kind of takes he steps back from it a little bit. It isn't clear exactly where he stands on the issue, but here's Zelensky now. And I would say the Ukrainians actually, very masterful diplomacy, even in the wake of Zelensky taking a whole heap of abuse months ago in the Oval Office, with J.D. Vance giving him this weird kind of dressing down, which was entirely inappropriate. And I don't think it made the United States look good. Some people in the Trump camp, of course, applauding, but I don't think it makes the United States look very good at all. Anyway, Zelensky surviving all of that, coming back, and here's what he had to say today.
Trump give you any assurances that the United States will give Ukraine Tomahawk missiles?
First of all, we need Tomahawks, and when we speak about long range, people have to understand, we use thousands of long-range drones, Ukrainian production, on military goals. But Russia uses not only drones of Iranian production, they use and also their production. Be honest, they have their drones, but also they use missiles of Russian productions and missiles long range of North Korea production. It's very difficult just to operate with Ukrainian drones. We need long-range Tomahawks and similar. United States has similar things. We need it for mixed using, like Russia uses. It's understandable how it works. So our teams work on it, I said, and I'm honest. It's good that President Trump didn't say no, but for today didn't say yes.
He didn't say yes to Tomahawk missiles.
Yeah. I mean, this is a sensitive question, and messages from President that it's not enough for American interests, the number of you have. Yes, I can't share these details. I'm sorry, this is your internal questions. But I count on continuation of this dialogue.
In the beginning of the week, President Trump seemed open to giving Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. Then, after speaking to President Putin, he changed his tone. Do you think President Trump changed his tone about Tomahawk missiles after speaking with President Putin?
I don't know really, because we didn't meet before this phone call. But for today, it's good again that he didn't say no. Yes, but I think that it's, what he understands, maybe understood after phone call. I don't know. I was not during phone call. So, but I knew about it, that Tomahawks, it's very sensitive for Russians. They afraid that United States can deliver Ukraine. I think that Putin afraid that United States will deliver us Tomahawks. And I think that he really afraid that we will use, and he knows what military goals, we know where they are, where the military goals of Russia, and he afraid that we can use it. And that's why we are where we are.
Okay, so that's Zelensky today on Meet the Press. Let's take a... All right. Now, also on Meet the Press today, Rand Paul taking issue with the way the Trump administration is using the military off the coast of Venezuela. He has expressed concerns about this before. He's expressing them again. We saw the two survivors from the submarine, the narco submarine, taken into custody and then released back to not Venezuela, Ecuador and Colombia. I can see why people have some concerns about whether international law and even U.S. law might be violated in the way that these strikes are being conducted off the coast of Venezuela. Here's Rand Paul today. Meet the Press. Conservative, Republican.
Well, you bring me to my next question, which is Venezuela. Obviously, you've been very focused on this. President Trump has authorized military strikes against suspected drug boats in the Caribbean. As you know, so far, more than 20 people, Senator, have been killed in 6 different strikes. Do you believe that these strikes against these suspected drug boats are legal?
No, they go against all of our tradition. You know, when you kill someone, you should know, if you're not at war, not in a declared war, you really need to know someone's name, at least. You have to accuse them of something. You have to present evidence. So all of these people have been blown up without us knowing their name, without any evidence of a crime. And for decades, if not centuries, when you stop people at sea in international waters or in your own waters, you announce that you're going to board the ship and you're looking for contraband, smuggling, or drugs. This happens every day off of Miami, but we know from Coast Guard statistics that about 25% of the time the Coast Guard boards a ship, there are no drugs. So if our policy now is to blow up every ship we suspect or accuse of drug running, that would be a bizarre world in which 25% of the people might be innocent. The other thing about these speedboats is they're 2,000 miles away from us. If they have drugs, they're probably peddling drugs to one of the islands, Trinidad or Tobago, off of Venezuela. The idea that they're coming here is like, it's a huge assumption, and really shouldn't you have to present some proof? It is the difference between war and peace. In war, though, you don't ask people's name. But if they want all-out war where we kill anybody and everybody that is in the country of Venezuela or coming out, that has to have a declaration of war. It's something that is not pretty, very expensive, and I'm not in favor of declaring war on Venezuela, but the Congress should vote. The president shouldn't do this by himself.
Let's talk about what appears to be an escalation, because in an extraordinary moment, President Trump acknowledged that he has authorized a covert CIA operation inside Venezuela. The Pentagon has scaled up U.S. forces and military assets in the region. Here is what President Trump said about Nicolas Maduro this week. Take a look.
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to around with the United States. Thank you, everybody.
You talk about war, Senator. Do you believe that President Trump wants to go to war with Venezuela?
You know, I don't know what his actual intentions are. I can say, though, that not being a master of spycraft, if you announce that you're going to have covert CIA action, it's no longer covert. So if you're going to spy in a country, you usually don't announce that you're going to spy in a country. So it's a little bit unusual there. I do think there are members of his administration who have been agitating for war with Venezuela for a long period of time. And once again, there's the stick and the carrot. Yes, the president's right. They know that we would defeat them in a matter of days. But the chaos that ensues, you know, we've had regime change. And President Trump, one of the things I liked about him is that he's, for a long time, said that he's not for regime change. He was against regime change in the first Iraq war. He was against regime change in Libya when President Obama promoted it. And out of both of those wars came, you know, trillions of dollars of expenditures, but also decades more of violence and instability and chaos. And with regard to Libya, the spread of weapons to terrorists all throughout sub-Saharan Africa. So regime change isn't always what you expect to get.
Yep.
I do want to talk about what.
Yep. So that was Meet the Press. Rand Paul today. Take a little break, come back. We've got a lot more to talk about tonight.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. It custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Yesterday's No Kings rallies across the United States, being called by some the largest protest of its kind in U.S. history today, with some estimating the total crowd size in excess of 7 million people. Kind of makes the Freedom Convoy look like a Boy Scout picnic on a weekend. Not to take anything away from what happened at the Boy Scout or the Freedom Convoy in Canada, but I mean the United States, such a country so much larger, and this thing, I don't know, you organized, as I said yesterday, it has to be a combination of all these things. Something that large doesn't come together simply, on a whim. They were organizing this, of course. Just to give you an example, just a taste. This is not in any way the largest. This was a splinter protest in LA. We brought you aerial footage of this yesterday. Oh, hang on a second here. Here we go. This was yesterday. People just marching down the street. Some of the crowd sizes were huge. I saw in some cities probably 100,000 people out marching. This is in Los Angeles. And these took place in every state, some even in Canada, and not just in the largest of cities, but also in other smaller communities as well, all in varying sizes. But the biggest ones appeared to be in like Portland, LA, Washington, New York, Boston, Houston, pretty much every major city.
Yes.
Hang on. Okay, let's pull out of that. Now, Donald Trump, not happy. Because it's all directed at him, of course. And people on the MAGA side, not happy. This is the front line in the current, I guess, hybrid warfare that's taking place within the United States politically. No question about it. And you're seeing it in Canada as well. These protests has been a big part of the political landscape always. But what's going on in the streets now, very confrontational. And yet yesterday, in spite of all of that, and in spite of all the predictions from what there were counter protests as well, but certainly the predictions from, I would say, the MAGA influencers, like Nick Sorter was on there yesterday saying, I think these things have a real potential for going violent. I have to say, there were very few arrests made across the country. Generally speaking, it looks like they were all pretty much peaceful. So no, I haven't seen any reports of anybody being killed or injured or run over or any of that kind of stuff. And very, very few arrests. Trump not happy. Spent the night posting online on Truth Social. In this post, he shares an AI-generated video of Donald Trump. And this, I have to say, I thought this is a misstep in my view. I think it speaks to his base of support, but not to the American people in general. Look at what he does here. Let's see if we can get it to play. It doesn't want to play. All right, let's re-cue it. It just shows you how efficient the Truth Social platform is. Sometimes we do have real trouble playing videos on Truth Social, especially if they're queued up in advance and it sits for a while. And now I have to find the stupid clip again. I think this is it. No, got to keep going down. Here we go. Okay, let's try it one more time, shall we? Okay, Rick, let's try it this way. One more time. Donald, can you get your social media platform to play the video for us, please? Please? Come on. Here we go. My goodness, what a technical nightmare this is. Nevertheless, I think like okay, I get the joke. Nevertheless, to me, that's not a president of the United States trying to be a president for all Americans. That is sending exactly the opposite message. It's like, screw you. You are my enemy. And that is, I think, at the heart of the problem here. That's why you have a country so divided, because both sides sort of view it that way. They're viewing each is viewing the other as the enemy. And Trump embracing the idea of being a king-like figure. And this post here in particular, I have to say, editorializing, just my opinion, you may have another one. I find this incredibly distasteful, what I'm about to show you, because again, I think it just says Trump is basically like, no, he is literally in this video taking a giant crap, and I'm using delicate language here, taking a giant crap on half the population of the United States. Can we play? Well, are you going to play or not? You're not going to play. Oh, well, that's fantastic. Well, let's re-cue it. What a crappy platform. I have a Truth Social account, but all right. But here we go. I'm going to turn the audio down on this because it has Top Gun music playing on it. I don't want a copyright strike on YouTube. Here we go. Oh, I better turn the music down. But look at what he does here. Okay, King Trump. Oh, yeah. And what's he doing here? He's literally, excuse my language, he's shitting on the protests. From way on high. Sorry for the language. I warned you. That doesn't bring people together, man. That it really doesn't. You might think it's funny, but he's the president of the United States. That's what he's reposting or posting on his social media platform. That's the message he's sending to the people in the streets protesting. You know, it might help bring peace about and keep the peace if you were to say something like, and I'm editorializing, I know, like, you're welcome to protest. Nevertheless, I'm still your president. I'm still working for you. I hear what you're saying. I'm taking what you say into consideration, and I'm trying to do what's best for the country, including you. But no, he's like, if you're going to protest in the streets, I am the goddamn king, and I'm going to crap all over you. Well, that's nice talk. Not. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
when Trump does things like he did on Truth Social, it just gives ammunition to the other side. So because of his Truth Social posts, he has given the guys over at the Midas Touch Network stuff to work with, and this is what they have done with it. This is what they posted early this morning.
That right there was the No Kings protest in Los Angeles. All in all, over 7 million people showed up to protest across the United States. It was the largest single day of protest in the history of the United States, and Donald Trump is not handling it well at all. He is just losing his mind over the success of these peaceful No Kings protests. I'll play for you this B-roll right here. These are real posts that Donald Trump was making late last night on his social media account. I think he thinks this is how he's going to intimidate the peaceful protesters. He posted this AI video of a King Trump fighter jet dumping feces on peaceful protesters, and Harry Sisson was someone who was in the peaceful protest there in New York, and this is how Donald Trump thinks that the president of the United States should behave. He's also posting or reposting AI videos that J.D. Vance posted with Donald Trump putting a crown on his head and holding up a sword. I mean, this behavior is just absolutely abhorrent. It is beneath contempt. It's not funny. It's not humorous. It really is just humiliating for our country that someone in that office is behaving that way. You're not owning the libs. You just look like an idiot.
Definitely giving ammunition to the to his political opponents there. Maybe that's how you win elections and stay in power. Oh, what else was there as a result of all that? There was another post. I don't know if I still have it. I probably lost it. Another one where there's like, not sure where it came from, showing magazine covers talking about elections, and it shows Trump still being president, like decades into the future. Because he's really looking at running again, and he'd have to make some changes in order to do that legally, I think. So we'll see what happens. There is a movement to make that happen. Here's just another look at the size of the crowds from yesterday. This from Washington, D.C., again from yesterday. Bring this up for you. This is from Associated Press, Reuters, Guardian. Crowds packing Freedom Plaza and Pennsylvania Avenue. Just to give you a sense of the scope, because I have no way to verify that claim of 7 million protesters. But I think this is the one yesterday where I was trying to do sort of a grouped head count to get an indication of how many people were at this protest. And then I extrapolated that and came up with a number of at least 1 million across the United States. Notice the Canadian flags on that building? Anybody guessing what building that is? So I can't remember the number I came up with there yesterday when I was doing the head count, but I think I was in around 20,000 in total. If you really start to group it together, that's how I would, when I was working in mainstream media and I was at an event, we'd say to one reporter would say, how many do you think are at this protest or this rally or event? And you'd try to come up with a number that everybody sort of agreed on. And then everyone would go back and publish something different. But I always tried to be accurate. I was trying to be accurate yesterday too, but there's no way to know. So claims made, very difficult to verify any of that. But it is safe to say it was huge. And I would say, it's successful just because nobody hurt, nobody killed, and very few arrests. So that in itself makes it a success. Here's back to NBC News. And the headline here, Israel and Hamas trade accusations of ceasefire violations. Again, coming back to my lead story tonight, that the ceasefire in the Middle East appears to be, well, pretty much toast, if indeed it ever was even, and I hate to say it, but I don't even know if it was ever real.
Hamas appears to be showing cracks. With reports, fighting has resumed, with each side blaming the other. NBC's chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel, is in Jerusalem. Richard, what's the latest there?
Willie, as you mentioned, it has not even been a week since this ceasefire was formally signed, and there are already accusations of violations, and now there have been clashes. So, as you know, Israeli troops are still inside Gaza. They've pulled out of many towns and cities, but they remain just beyond what is called the yellow line. So that is an area that is still occupied by Israeli forces, and this clash today happened in that area. According to a military official to NBC News, there were two separate incidents that an Israeli vehicle, Israeli troops operating in that area, still controlled by Israeli forces, was hit by Hamas by an RPG and sniper fire. Israeli media report that an airstrike was called in. Now, Palestinians say that there have been violations on the Israeli side, and that many Palestinians who have crossed accidentally this invisible barrier separating Palestinians and Israeli forces have been shot dead. So they say Israel is violating that by killing civilians, nearly 40 of them since the ceasefire, and by not allowing in aid. It was supposed to be 600 trucks a day worth of aid coming in, but as of now, only a trickle. So a very fragile ceasefire that, as you say, is showing cracks.
And just days after this celebrated ceasefire was put in place that, thank God, brought the hostages home. We will stay on this story. Richard Engel in Jerusalem, thank you.
I'll be right back. We have more.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity. The Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea, an exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
In other news, a daring jewel heist at the Louvre Museum. They're saying that this was a minutes-long strike today inside this museum, the most visited museum in the world. And these thieves rode some sort of a basket lift up to the Louvre's facade, up the facade of the building, forced open a window, smashed display cases, and then took off with Napoleonic jewels which are said to be priceless. So this thing happened. It was like a daring daylight heist. Happened about 30 minutes after the museum opened. Visitors already inside. And this is now perhaps the highest profile museum theft in, well, recent history. And this comes on the heels of staff complaining that crowding and thin staffing were straining security at the museum. So this all happened about 250 meters, 270 yards from the Mona Lisa. The culture minister there is describing this as a professional 4-minute operation. And one of the objects, the emerald set imperial crown of Napoleon III's wife, containing more than 1,300 diamonds, was later found outside the museum. And authorities are saying that it was reportedly recovered, but broken. Let's pick up this report. Sure we can. We'll bring you this version from the Canadian side on this international story. Here we go. A little piece of history on the run, history in the making today.
Closed after a heist took place this morning when tourists were already inside. The strike took 7 minutes, with the thieves using a basket lift to get into the museum, then forcing open a window, smashing display cases, and fleeing with jewels of historic value beyond estimation, according to France's interior minister. The thieves reportedly took 9 pieces of the jewelry collection of Napoleon and the Empress. Well, another stolen jewel was reportedly later found outside the museum. France's culture minister was on site at the Louvre today as an investigation begins into who robbed the world's most visited museum.
Oops. Somebody might lose their job over that. I would think. Oh, well, we'll see where that goes. So, what else do we have on tap for you tonight? Does anything else even matter? We've got wars, we've got jewelry heists, we've got, oh, I know, you want to talk about the ostriches. The story that just won't go away. I just want to make sure we're not missing any of the other stuff that I queued up for you tonight. Oh, there was this story, too, that I wanted to touch on. A Tesla explosion. This because they were being told is because of an uncertified charging adapter being used on a Tesla automobile. Let me just show you the images here. Okay. This was out in British Columbia. And when these electric vehicles catch fire, man, like it is serious stuff. They're very difficult to put out, these lithium ion batteries. You can see here, connected the charger, and then look what happens. So it says here, a man using an aftermarket uncertified adapter to charge his Tesla was knocked to the ground by an explosion. It was caught on camera, and it's being highlighted by Technical Safety BC regulatory agency, government agency with rules. Anyway, just publishing this in its report. And this happened back in August, but just coming to light now. And so it says here that while charging a Tesla EV at a non-Tesla commercial electric vehicle charger, a short circuit between the charging cable of the charger and an aftermarket charging adapter resulted in an arc flash. The report from the regulator said the vehicle's owner suffered minor scrapes and abrasions. The vehicle was left with burn marks and significant scorching. No kidding. At its charging port, and the adapter was blown in half, significantly melted and damaged. That's the thing about Tesla. They're not like open source anything. Like everything with a Tesla is kind of in-house. if you need your Tesla fixed, they want you to take it to a Tesla dealer. Obviously, even with the chargers, they want you to use a Tesla charger. The regulator's report explained that in order to charge a Tesla at a non-Tesla charging station, an adapter is required, and the company sells approved adapters and has a policy on their use. The policy states that prohibited devices that are advertised by third parties as compatible with Tesla charging equipment are dangerous and therefore remain prohibited, even if sold under such advertising. That's why I would not buy a Tesla. While aftermarket adapters are available, they are also regulated. The only approved adapters for sale or use in Canada are those manufactured by automakers and stamped with a certification mark, according to the BC report. And so the driver reported to investigators that he had the adapter, had it for like 2 years, and had used it dozens of times in the past with no problem. And that it had been tested in where else? In China. And the manufacturer was aware that it had not been subject to the testing requirements of a Canadian approved standard, CSA. Although the adapter registered some errors prior to its fiery failure, nothing triggered the charging station to go into full fault mode and shut down. And so we got that. And I'd say that guy's lucky to be alive. You know how much juice there is in those things, man? They pack a lot of punch. You need a lot of electricity flowing into those batteries and quickly in order to charge them up in any kind of reasonable amount of time. It's not like sticking your finger in an electrical outlet in the wall at your house with 110 volts. No, sir. It's serious business. All right, what else we got going on here? Let me take a little break. I'm just going to check for other headlines before we move on to, that other story. We'll be right back. I've got more. I do.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so still fallout from the No Kings rallies yesterday. And to further illustrate the huge divide politically within the country, what has the MAGA side been doing? Even before the protests yesterday, they were calling them anti-American, anti-American hate? Hate America. That's what it is. Hate America rallies. That's the phrase they've been using. And that is also the phrase that was used in today's, because it is Sunday political talk show day. That's what Speaker Mike Johnson was saying over on ABC. Let's bring this up. I'm going to play the video. And again, it just shows you, like, language is important, the way it frames people's perceptions. Peaceful protesters to some, insurrectionists to others, maybe even terrorists. That's the other phrase that's being thrown around a lot.
I'm joined now by the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, right here in the studio. Speaker Johnson, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be with you. Thanks.
So let's start with the No Kings rallies. You called these Hate America rallies. What do you mean by that?
Well, that collection of folks that I listed were certainly part of it. We congratulate them on a apparently violent free speech exercise. I was a First Amendment lawyer for 20 years. We defend that right. But the irony of the message is pretty clear for everyone. If President Trump was a king, the government would be open right now. If President Trump was a king, they would not have been able to engage in that free speech exercise out on the mall, by the way, which was open because President Trump hasn't closed it. In the last shutdown, 2013 era, President Obama closed the National Mall, it closed all the national parks, didn't allow people to engage in all this. So, I mean, they needed a stunt, they needed a show. Chuck Schumer needs cover right now. He's closed the government down because he needs political cover, and this was a part of it.
We'll get to the shutdown, but just on this notion that these are Hate America rallies, and you not only talked about anarchists, Antifa advocates, pro-Hamas wing, and you said this is the modern Democratic Party. But I remember not that long ago what you said after the murder of Charlie Kirk, when you said that we should view fellow Americans not as our enemies, but as our fellow countrymen.
Yeah, I've never called anybody an enemy, but we call out...
Hate America rally or, Antifa, pro-Hamas, those are enemies.
Well, there were a lot of hateful messages yesterday. I mean, we have video and photos of pretty violent rhetoric, calling out the president, saying fascists must die and all the rest. I mean, I don't think that's loving speech. I don't think that's friendly speech. And I don't think it's pro-American to say those kinds of things. So it's not about the people. It's about the message. It's about the ideology. And I will stand here every Sunday and talk with you about the dangers of Marxism and socialism and how it's led to the literal death of tens of millions of people in the 20th century alone. It is a dangerous ideology, and it is anti-American. It goes against everything that we stand for.
But you're not saying that this is all of the Democratic Party. It's not all of the people that were out there. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Hillary Clinton referred to Trump supporters, or half of them, as the basket of deplorables.
I've never said that. I never called out. I never said it was the whole Democratic Party. But you and I have to acknowledge the reality. Wait a minute.
So this is the modern Democratic Party.
It is, because look at the evidence. Look at what's happening in New York. They're about to elect an open socialist Marxist as the mayor of America's largest city. There's a rise of Marxism in the Democratic Party. It's an objective fact, and no one can deny it. We lament that. We decry it. We're trying to call it out because I want to make sure the next generation of Americans understands that is a dangerous road to go down. That's part of our calling. I think part of our responsibility as elected servants of the people.
So let's get to the shutdown. You've blamed the Democrats, and to be clear, you did pass a so-called clear...
Not so-called, totally clean.
Keep the government funded for 7 months. They refused to vote for that, most of them, because they want to hold out for the Obamacare subsidies.
Well, no, we filed a clean CR, 24 pages in length, keep the lights on. They filed a dirty CR. What's in it? They want to reinstate free health care paid for by taxpayers to illegal aliens. That's $200 billion as part of it. They want to give money back to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They want to take $500 million from rural hospitals. And they want to engage in all sorts of spending on foreign projects around the globe. That is actually on paper. That's their kind of proposal. We can't do that.
Okay, so the Democrats did not vote for the clean funding bill. They have chosen to shut the government down to fight for the health care and the other items you mentioned. But let me ask you, why, as this is going on, why is the House not in session?
Well, first of all, we're fighting for health care as well, not just in word, but in deed. We put it in the one big beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, real reforms to Medicaid to make it work better, to preserve the program, because we had illegal aliens receiving benefits. We had young able-bodied men who were not working. They don't have dependents. They were riding the wagon. We cleaned that up in our bill. In their counterproposal, what Chuck Schumer is arguing for is he wants to reverse those reforms, which would be a terrible policy decision for the people.
But I'm actually asking a different question. I said, why is the House not in session? I mean, I covered day-to-day those previous shutdowns, including the one you mentioned in 2013. I recall there were House hearings during that shutdown about how President Obama was handling the shutdown.
Yeah.
Why is the House not in session as this is
The House did its job. Exactly a month ago today, on September 19th, we passed the clean resolution. The continuing resolution would keep the lights on, keep the government working for the people. By the way, keep Border Patrol agents paid, our troops paid, air traffic controllers, all the rest, all the services that go to veterans and young women who need nutrition assistance for their infants. The Democrats, every single one of them, have now voted 11 times, except for 3 Democrats in the Senate. They voted 11 times to shut down the government and cease and halt all of those services and programs.
But I'm still not understanding, why is the House not in session? You passed a 7-week temporary funding bill. Is that the entirety of the Republican agenda?
No, it is not.
You...
No, it is not. But I refuse to allow us to come back and engage in anything until the government's reopened, when the Democrats do the right thing for the people. They're playing politics, and we have to use every ounce of leverage we have to make sure they do the right thing.
Okay. So there's politics being played right there on ABC. This is politics too, but it's also reality, and it's weird, and I don't understand how this happened or why it's happening or what it overall means. But I don't know if you're aware, but there was this celebration, 250th anniversary of the Marines. And as part of all of this, out in California, Southern California, there were live munitions being shot over I-5. The governor, Gavin Newsom, expressed real concerns about it, but J.D. Vance was out there participating in all of this. He spoke at the event, I believe this was yesterday, and they were firing munitions over I-5. People expressed concern about it beforehand, but they went ahead and did this anyway. And it blows my mind. Why would you do this? But they did this. Like, they really did this. Let me just bring you up the evidence so that I'm not losing my mind. Like, they were actually shooting live ammunition, like shells, over I-5. And the result was not really that good. Nobody was hurt or killed, thank God. But it's clearly not a safe thing to be doing. Let me show you. So here you go. This was the result. This is on, I believe, a California highway patrol vehicle. Live munitions were being fired, and then one of the shells detonated right over the highway, apparently. And in this case, a piece of shrapnel of some kind landed on a California highway patrol vehicle, as you can see from this image. And there's more shrapnel that was recovered by police. And why would you do this? But they did it anyway. Strange story. And then here, we'll just do a little Twitter scroll to show you what was going on while this was happening. Look at this. Live weapons over freeway. Fired on orders right over I-5 in California, it says here. This was posted 23 hours ago, yesterday. The U.S. Marine Corps at Camp Pendleton has historically conducted live fire artillery training over Interstate 5 as a routine practice. What? Okay. But hey, you better be careful. Make sure you get your gun licensed. The U.S. Marine Corps at Camp Pendleton has historically conducted live fire artillery training over Interstate 5 as a routine practice, though the recent closure of the freeway for such an event was unusual. Multiple sources indicate that firing live rounds over the freeway, particularly with M777 howitzers from training areas west of I-5 into impact zones east of the highway, occurs multiple times per year. Really? During regular training exercises, and is considered safe under established protocols? A Marine Corps spokesperson stated that such firings are an established and safe practice and part of a routine unit proficiency drills. Do they always get shrapnel on police cars? I guess the shrapnel was from an artillery shell, struck a cruiser. The shrapnel did, not the actual shell. It was parked on I-5 during the live fire demonstration by the U.S. Marine Corps. All right. Well, if that's the way you want to operate down there, I wouldn't feel comfortable with them, say, shooting live ammunition over Highway 401 here in Ontario. Here's the vice president participating in part of the festivities down there in Southern California. This was a live fire amphibious capabilities demonstration at Red Beach on Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton in California. This was all part of the 250th birthday celebration. Sorry. It's that amphibious vehicle there. You're going to see the troops. You're going to see some jets fly overhead, and then you'll see troops doing it like a simulated, well, it's not simulated, they're actually doing it. It's an amphibious landing. You'll see troops running onto the shore, swarming. Today, I'm off to work, honey. Okay, great. See you after work. Okay, hope so. Make an I-5. Okay, well, duck and cover. Oh, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. This firing artillery shells, 5 ammunition on the highway. No big deal. The thing that comes to mind is the old Archie comics. For some reason, just watching this, I'm not exactly sure why this popped into my mind, but maybe it's just I just have these images of Betty and Veronica at the beach with Jughead and Archie and Reggie, and then these guys running up on the beach with their machine guns and the jets flying overhead. My mind works in mysterious ways sometimes, doesn't it? It all depends on the lens that you look at the world through. What is your worldview? Well, we're going to dig into the Ostrich story on the other side. That's a pretty warped thing, too, that whole damn thing. And maybe you're going to want to weigh in on that conversation tonight. We'll be going to the phones soon. Hang in there. It's almost time.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, so yesterday we were talking about the ostriches out at Edgewood, BC, where the standoff continues tonight over the Canadian Food Inspection Agency ordered cull as we await a decision from the Supreme Court of Canada on whether their appeal on the cull, after having been rejected by lower courts, will be heard by the Supreme Court. I don't think we're going to, I'm hearing we're not going to hear or get a decision on that likely until after October 30th. Not sure why. One can speculate. But new developments out there this evening as, things just continue to devolve and turn into more and more of a circus. I have to say, I think some people are beginning to ask better questions about what is going on out there. Yesterday, we highlighted some other prominent live stream social media influencers who are kind of catching up on the story, reporting information now that we were really kind of touching on here months ago. Not only us, but a few others online, independent media, mainstream media, not really picking up on the importance of some of the information out there. Now, let me just, I do want to kind of go here online and get you the latest stuff happening out there in Edgewood, British Columbia. And then I'm going to backtrack and dial back and show you some of the stuff that's happened overnight, too. So I know today we had a First Nations leader. Remember the lady that was in Alberta and she sang to the Pope? That lady, you remember that? It was a big moment when the Pope came to visit Canada the last time and went out to Alberta and apologized for the residential school stuff and all of that. So this lady out at the farm today, handing a letter over to RCMP on site. Let me see if I've got the video. Here we go here. Yep, we've got it. This goes on for quite a while, so how much of this are we going to run? Pick it up. Here's the exchange. I've got it. Now, this was tried once before, and it got a bunch of media attention with someone coming there saying they were a First Nations leader, handing a letter to the CFIA saying that the land the farm was on actually belonged to this First Nations tribe, only to find out later that it was a fake Indigenous leader. No such tribe actually exists. And yet this letter was given to the RCMP, which then conveyed it to the CFIA. When it was happening, I said, this is not going to fly. This, a little bit different. This woman coming to the farm definitely has some credentials and it should be taken seriously. But how does it actually play into treaties and the law? Will this actually result in a positive response from the CFIA or the government of Canada with regard to that? Well, just watch the exchange. You can decide for yourself, I guess. Here we go.
Sorry, we're on the other side waiting for the ferry.
Sorry to make you turn around, but I came a long way to be able to help with the situation. Now, soon You are hereby serve spoken law. We, the daughters of the Great Spirit, cannot be coerced into any law, any treaty that is not the great law. We have appointed chiefs on our territories. Govern yourselves accordingly. Hi, hi. It's going to be the solution here today.
What is it that you're asking?
I'm asking if I could take them. I wrote a letter to the Provost Marshal. There's a tracking device on it, and there's 3 people written on there that I'm hoping could be taken into custody. Because by law, we could still protect this land by law.
Okay. So the answer doesn't come from me.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm getting you to, because like I said, I'm getting a Provost Marshal liaison instead of going with the RCMP, because the RCMP took the life of my brother, Raymond John Francois Nelson House, Manitoba. And I'd like that to get looked into as well, because it's been put under the rug for far too long. And we, the people, need to know that you can protect us by taking us through there. Know that we can still assert this law, respect the fully. Because by law, you're supposed to respect the law.
I'm sorry about your brother, but we can deal with this today. And so what I can do is take this to the folks who have the authority of that land right now through the warrant, and that's CFIA.
Yep. Well, that assumed the jurisdiction of the law. I'm okay with that. But we're going to be getting a Provost Marshal liaison.
Okay, and what's a Provost Marshal?
Because, read it. We're the first people, and it's their job for them to protect us. We, the people, all people of the land.
Okay.
And they're still under the Noah's Ark Treaty, under the Great Law. The white tribes, we could still protect them under the law of the land. And she was born on these lands, so we could protect her land, under the law of the land.
Okay, thanks. Reciprocal, right? Okay, thank you for bringing this to me, and I will bring it up.
Because I spoke the law to your Queen, Prince Charles, past popes, past premiers. Your Pope bowed his head to this law.
Okay. I will bring it up, and then we'll see what the CFIA says, and I'll bring back an answer to you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. But those 3 are going to be the ones that you're going to ask your legal to come to.
Well, I can't say if that's going to happen or not.
But you're the one who's going to be...
I'll be the messenger for this.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's good.
Give us a little bit of time. All right.
You've already been given enough time, though, so whoever...
This is new to me.
Yeah.
So, all right.
It's going to be new, but it's the law, because you're only policy enforcers. Here, I'm here to enforce the law of the land. I'm the steward of that law.
All right. I'll bring it up. How to make the decisions, right?
I know.
Okay.
Well, today, you know what? I'm only here to serve the law naturally, and it comes natural. There's nothing. It's not a threat either. It's a promise.
Okay. Thank you, Go.
Okay. Thanks so much.
All right. So there's that. Although I don't think that's at the heart of the matter here. There are a lot of other issues that really the mainstream media has not been covering, that are now being highlighted by others, things that we've been drawing attention to that, I've been under fire for an attack. And, Rick, you hate ostriches. I'm just bringing you the information. And now some other live streamers, people who've actually gone out to the farm to express support or show support and encourage others to go out there, now they're asking questions. Case in point, Ron Clark. Even he is beginning to wonder about the accounting practices in place at the farm. How many ostriches were there before? How many are there now? How many... It's not clear. We were told, if you go back a while ago, it was 500. Then when all this bird flu stuff happened back in December, we're told there were about 460, 470. 69 birds died. That got us down to around 400. Then 2 were allegedly shot, killed somehow. That gets you to 398. And then the CFIA comes in. These were numbers given out by the farm. Then the CFIA comes in. They do a head count. And mysteriously, we're down to between 300, 330. I think the agreed upon number at the moment is like 330. So you're missing somewhere around 70 to 100 birds. Where did they go? Karen Esperson, farm owner, stands up in front of a group of people, says, well, we don't really know how many birds we have. She said this. I'm not really sure. It's somewhere between 300 and 400, but it doesn't really matter, she said. Even if it's only 2 birds, we just have to save them. The issue is far more complicated than that. If you just want to, this is why it's easy to sell this narrative to people, because they appeal to people on an emotional level. Like, we just have to test the birds and save them no matter what. The birds are innocent. Okay, you can just stop there, believe that. But the issue is much more complicated than that, because we have these birds were used for research purposes. They were injected with COVID antigens. As we've demonstrated, proven, the farm owners have admitted to it. They did so on this program. They don't talk about it now, by the way. No, they don't talk about that end of it at all anymore. And then they started, because all these questions began to come out about the number of birds. Then they came out days after that and started to express concern. And, oh my God, where are the birds? The CFIA must be killing our birds. Well, maybe not. Maybe they just have an accounting issue, or maybe something even worse. Here's influencer Ron Clark now. He's even questioning the things that we've been questioning. Things are changing out there at the farm. And I think on many levels, they're beginning to lose support, because some of these half-truths, and I would say even outright lies, are catching up with them.
Last time I was down on the Universal Ostrich farm, Mary Leach was playing, and then Katie was speaking, and she pointed at me. She says, and thank you for being the very first person to bring her on a podcast. Yes, that was me. Colin Big Bear reached out to me. I brought her on a podcast to get the story out. And then she was like, well, we have 400 ostriches. Well, at the beginning, it was 400 ostriches, and 69 died, and they did PCR test on 2. That would probably bring us down to 330. And that's what Karen says. That's Katie's mom. Karen says we have 330 ostriches. Okay. But then every time you hear Katie speak, we're at 400 minus the 2 dead ones plus the other one that passed away. She's still around the 400 mark. Her mom is at the 330 mark. And this is why you have... This hour has 22 minutes mocking the ostrich farm. This is what happens when you don't get your story straight. All of these birds have a tag on them, right? Frank, the one that passed away, 710, right? Shouldn't you know how many birds you have on that farm? I'm just saying, because everybody's asking the same freaking question out here. How many birds were there prior to CFAA entering that property? If we're at the 330 mark, and then we're down below the 300 mark that CFAA is killing birds or removing birds, yeah. But at the end of the day, when these numbers are all over the place, you're confusing people, Katie. Just show us. Pick up a piece of paper. Look, these are the birds that are still, 478 passed away 5 years ago, blah, blah. And this is how many living birds we have on the farm right now. Just saying. Because right now, it looks kind of stupid out there. Because if we're all running around out there trying to show aerial footage of all of this stuff and how many birds are on this farm, and yet you can't give a direct answer, what confuses people? It does. Can you just give us a frickin' honest answer on how many ostriches are down there? Because you have a piece of paper in your office that tells you how many birds you have on site. Even a chicken farmer will tell you how many chickens they have in their, thousands, and they'll tell you how many they have. Let's be honest and transparent. But yeah. I'm sorry, Katie, this is a message to you directly. Tell us how many ostriches are on that farm before we risk our lives and get arrested. Just saying. Transparency starts with the owners. That's me giving my point of view on the ostrich farm. So frustrating, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Especially when, it's been, I have to say, it's been pretty lonely in this chair. for months because I've just been asking questions as a journalist should. And now even people, supporters of the farm, people are out there, save the ostriches, power to the ostriches. And now they're like, wait a minute, there's just stuff not adding up out there. Yeah. And quite a few people have gone out to that farm, been there for a little while, saw things going on, then left because they didn't like what they saw going on. Now other people asking questions too. Here's Phil Primo. He posted this last night. I'm going to run this. I was going to just run the second half of this because he had a bit of a technical problem off the top, but I'm going to run the whole thing so that I can't be accused of editing anything or anything. It's just like, this is exactly what Phil Primo posted last night in its entirety. It's not that long, but this highlights exactly what I've been saying for months. These birds were used not for bird flu research, for COVID research. These birds have been producing antibodies artificially, not naturally. Katie keeps saying, this is all natural. No. The COVID antibodies those birds produce have been artificially induced through COVID antigen injections. Repeatedly, from the beginning of the pandemic, they turned to COVID research at the farm, and they have been injecting those birds over and over and over and over again, like about on a 2-week interval, injecting them. 2 weeks, that's the information I have. I stand to be corrected on that, but that's the best information I have. About every 2 weeks, bam, they inject these birds again in order to artificially induce COVID antibody production within the birds. The ostriches don't just naturally produce COVID antibodies. And why were they doing that? If you go back and read the documentation on it, it's because they said that there was a good possibility that they could use these antibodies to produce vaccines, working in conjunction with government-funded labs, universities, both in Canada and Japan. Government grant money was flowing like crazy back during the pandemic. And like many others, including even some government officials, they were looking to cash in, to capitalize on those government grants that were being issued left, right, and center. The money was flying around because the government was like, we have to address this COVID issue. And so people were lining up at the public trough at universities, private companies, to participate in research projects, to find a cure or ways to mitigate the risk of COVID at the time, the farm included, because their business had been devastated at that point. They couldn't get their birds to market because they were selling them for food. It was an ostrich farm where they're butchering the animals to sell them for food. But the abattoirs, the places where they butcher the birds, they were backed up. They couldn't get their birds to market because they couldn't keep them staffed during the pandemic. So farms were having a lot of trouble. Their ostrich farm in particular was having real trouble getting their birds to market. The market wasn't there. And it's a niche market to begin with. During the pandemic, they had big problems. So they turned to research because they had an opportunity to sell their eggs laden with artificially induced COVID antibodies to this researcher in Japan. And they were trying to capitalize on the Canadian side. Those antibodies are ultimately used in the development of masks that we were told might glow under ultraviolet light or light up if you were exposed to COVID, in which case I guess they could tackle you in a Canadian Tire and say, COVID witch, and then tackle you to the ground and drag you off to some quarantine facility if you're wearing your mask and you came into contact with the virus. That's what those masks were ultimately for. And anyway, but hey, Rick, what do you know? You just hate ostriches. No. all documented. And it goes far beyond that. I mean, all this stuff has been laid out in documentation, interviews, both sides, explored the whole issue all the way around. And now finally, as you see, even some other prominent live stream media, social media influencers out there who have been, some of whom have gone out to the farm to actually support them, now asking the tough questions too, because the truth is catching up. These lies are unraveling. Here's Phil Primo, freedom fighter.
Okay, you got 2 lives in one day. This one is pretty important. Katie Pasitny, total fucking psycho liar. I'm just about to show you how. It's very simple. Okay, this is a live that she did 3 hours ago. I'm just going to play up until she makes her claim. Then I'm going to flip over to the CBC and show you that she's fucking lying. So share this out, everybody. Here it goes. I'm just going to switch perspectives here. Okay, there's Katie. Okay, let's just do the date here. Bring the date up. There it is. Can you see that? Okay, it's October 18th, 9:34 p.m. Mountain. Okay, here's Katie Pasitny's Facebook page. 3 hours ago. Let's listen in, shall we? Here we go. Oh, give me 1 sec. I got no volume. Let's see if that does it. You're going to want to share out this video. I'm going to show you how much of a liar this broad is in real time. Okay, I still don't have volume. Why don't I have volume? Cable check. Am I plugged in? I seem to be plugged in. Oh. Let's just have a look at audio settings. I shouldn't be doing this in real time because it's going to screw up the video. However, still no volume. Oh, there's why.
If you know us,
okay,
you know who we are.
Okay.
We've tried everything, and when you have no options left, and you know your animals are just about to be killed, it was like that Indigenous letter when we gave that to the police. It's
get ready. She's going to make her claim.
Animals are going to start to die. When you get given a letter and you don't understand and you don't know about the credibility or the things that have to be on that letter, but we gave it to the police immediately because if that was going to do anything to stop the killing, we had nothing to lose. We sure are learning a lot about what you need on the letters, or say the tribe or Indigenous band, and how that has to go forward. And we actually have a lady at the house right now who has put all her documentation into Canadian Food Inspection Agency, and she is at the farm right now. I'm just doing a quick run for supplies, and she's trying to get a count on our animals.
Okay, here it comes.
We're going to see how that goes. But there's a lot of misinformation online about us injecting our animals with spike proteins, the research, and how we were going to kill our animals anyway. And
okay, there's her fucking claim. She's saying that's misinformation. It's unbelievable to me that she can fucking do this, that she thinks she's going to get away with this. Okay, here's the CBC. There's the link. I can't actually share the link on Facebook because it'll basically say we can't share news in Canada. Okay? Here's the date, July 23rd, 2021. This is an interview with the CBC, which you've seen a clip of. Fucking commercials.
I think I'm in love. Invite her to the party.
Fuck you, CBC. Just give me a sec.
Oh, come on, just go.
Yeah, fucking crackers. I don't give a shit.
Another one bites the crust.
The Laughing Cow, dramatically creepy.
Whatever.
Whether you're elected to the community.
Okay, I'm not going to air their propaganda, but just hold on. As soon as this video fucking plays, it's the same video I just shared on my wall. That somebody else took a clip of. But, nobody's going to believe it unless they see the actual... Here it is. The actual CBC site.
The Michaud Creek wildfire is growing. It does continue to be a concern. It's about 20 clicks or so south of Edgewood, and that town is under a mandatory evacuation order. So you've got to leave. My next guest has decided not to leave. Why? Because look what's around her. 500 ostriches. They're on her mother's farm. You can see Katie Pasitny right there in the shot. She is a resident of Edgewood, BC. Katie, I'm trying to understand why you get a mandatory, declaration to leave, and you say, I'm not going because of these critters around me.
Here with on a farm my mom Karen and her business partner Dave own, and we've grown up with these guys for over 20 years.
Is one of them trying to take your hat?
No, I think he's trying to peck her head off, actually.
They love attention, that's for sure.
Yeah, loves attention.
Okay, they're kind of scary.
They are, actually.
I suppose there's a gentle side to them.
If you spend a lot of time with them, they become like your pets. Yeah, absolutely. They are very gentle and they can be really loving. Minus the ones, I guess, behind me that look like they're fighting.
Daily with their talons.
Yes, unpredictable is the word. But we can also use that word, Katie, for the fires. They are unpredictable because of the winds. So in making this decision, what did you think about before you made it?
There's just 500 ostrich, just like, I guess 500 cattle would probably load up a lot easier. But 500 ostrich just don't load up as easy as a lot of people think. So these are and have been our babies, and my mom's and her business partner's babies for over 20 years. And it's not fair just to abandon them in a time where we all need to come together and protect not just human life, but there's animals out here that can't speak for themselves, can't get out of their pens, they can't go access water and resources. We can't just leave them without feed and make these guys suffer more than they could potentially have to suffer. So our whole objective here is to do everything we can possible. And if we have to let the houses burn, then the houses will go. And one thing we've learned is you can rebuild a home, but these guys, it'd be pretty hard stretch to try and find 500 more of these guys that you could just replace. So
that looked like it hurt.
Yeah, I'm sure that it does.
It can. Some of them peck really gentle, and some of them don't peck so nice. But
you know what? You have an awfully big heart. I get it that you want to save them. I'm just having trouble picturing myself in that field with your ostriches and wanting to stay with them. What do you do with 500 ostriches anyway?
Here it comes.
Well, we meat, eggs, and ostrich oil, believe it or not, is extremely effective in healing so many different conditions like eczema, psoriasis. And then there's been an antibody program, which is the latest and really amazing thing that the farm's been working on. And actually half of this farm is injected with dead COVID-19 vaccine.
Oh! Oh!
Building antibodies because these
You fucking wonder tit bitch. I'm so fucking furious. She goes on her fucking live minutes ago. Minutes, hours, but literally denies this. She fucking denied. There is something wrong with this woman.
She's trying to get a count on our animals. So we're going to see how that goes. But there's a lot of misinformation online about us injecting our animals with spike proteins, the research and how we were going to kill our animals anyway. And
oh my fucking God. Is this woman crazy? Is she crazy? When somebody lies like this, openly, like hours ago, and this is on the internet from fucking years ago.
Vaccine and the COVID variant. And they've been working on building antibodies because these birds just build such...
Oh my God. Is she fucking crazy? Is it me? I feel like Mugatu. I gotta take crazy pills. This is fucking insane. This bitch is fucked in the head. And that should put this to rest. The fucking farm is done. They were selling meat, injected half their ostriches, doesn't look like there was any separation. And guess what? COVID spike proteins are HIV-1. So how does that go from bird to bird? Through sex. Duh. This fucking woman is a dunce. She's fucking fired. You're fired, Katie. The fucking farm is finished. Round them up.
I ran that clip months ago. Months ago. First interview I ever did was with Karen Esperson, and she was quite open. She talked about the COVID research. First interview I did on this program. Okay, you were involved in a COVID program. I have no issues with it, but they don't talk about it now. Now it's like forbidden subject matter. Taboo. Not supposed to say anything about it. They do talk about it sometimes a little bit when forced into, but they really don't talk about it. And I just watched another clip of Katie on the Jimmy Dore show. And she just keeps saying antibodies. And he says, what do you do? What do you do to make money with your ostriches? And then she, you know what her answer was? They basically sell the antibodies. But she doesn't say what kind of antibodies. It's just a conflation. It's just an open-ended thing where she says they're selling antibodies, but she doesn't say it's COVID antibodies that they were selling by selling the eggs, which were laden with artificially induced COVID antibodies. Antibodies the ostriches do not produce naturally. They produce them because they're injected with the antigen or the spike protein, which is what she describes it as there, the dead COVID virus, injected into the birds to produce artificially the antibodies that are present in the eggs that they then sold for very high prices to the university in Japan, and also for a while to a bioresearch lab in Montreal, where they were also getting the antigens from, or at least they were going to try to sell the eggs to the research facility in Montreal, which had a $13 million contract or grant from the federal government of Canada. The farm not paid directly from that, but not from directly from the money that the government produced. The money went to the lab. Then the lab was buying or engaging in some sort of a business transaction with the farm. You see, so the money was flowing. But the farm, not a direct recipient of the government grants, nevertheless, part of that. Now, you can be in favor of that or against it. I don't care where you land on that. You need to know that that is what was going on out there. This assertion that they were just selling what kind of antibodies? They're making you think that it's for the bird flu or something. But the bird flu didn't even come into play with regard to the antibodies until the birds started to die from bird flu. And they have no studies, no valid studies at all to point to, because they didn't do any studies into bird flu. They're just making a claim that these birds are special because these ones survived. But as I pointed out, in the case of ostriches, which are not chickens, but they are poultry, ostriches don't die in the same percentages. They're not as likely to die from exposure to bird flu as chickens because they're much larger. They have a different kind of immune system. God knows what the hell is going on with these ostriches because they've been part of a research project into COVID and had been for years prior. We don't know what that had really done to their immune systems. We don't know if maybe that made them more vulnerable to acquiring bird flu. A lot of unknowns out there. And I also showed, going beyond anything these other streamers have shown you in the last couple of days, because they're still catching up, this farm, dating all the way back to its creation or its inception back in, I think it was what year was it? The 1990s or whatever? I don't quote me on the year. But when the farm was first started, they were involved in a study with the University of British Columbia and selective breeding. I showed you that. This also documented. It's in the court documents. There are other documents out there as well proving that this is the case, where the birds were part of a selective breeding program and conducted in conjunction with the University of British Columbia, where they're opposed to culling the ostriches. As part of that, as birds were hatched at the farm, if they didn't meet the standard, if they weren't big enough, or if they didn't have the characteristics that they were looking for, they culled them en masse because they didn't want the runts. They didn't want the little ones. They didn't want the ones that weren't tall enough or big enough or pretty enough or whatever the criteria was. So they would just throw them into a chopper-upper and kill the baby birds so that they wouldn't have to feed them and pay to keep them. They only wanted certain birds. That was part of the study. It says so right in the court documents. Don't cull the birds. They were culling the birds. Birds that they didn't want, the little baby ones. If they didn't want that one, into the garbage with that one, just kill it and throw it away. Is that humane? Maybe if they cull them humanely. But is that, oh my God. And and the tears go on and go on and off and on and off on cue. You're telling me this isn't a show? You're telling me that this is, look, other people finally catching up on the information. And there's so much more. This is the tip of the iceberg. And I'm sure it's the tip of the iceberg because there's a whole lot more that I'm sure that we don't even know about yet. Follow the money. It's about the money. It's also about the politics. It's gotten very little to do with the damn birds. Thank you to those of you who have finally come around and are now at least beginning to ask some of the right questions, because the people deserve the truth. And I've been under so much pressure from people, certain people in particular, to just bend the knee and adopt the narrative and just start lying. And I've said, no, I'm not lying. And I'm not going to cover for people who engage in bad activity, who are not out there acting in good faith. Jim Kerr, liar, came on this program. Well, he came on this program and I called him out. He kind of jumped in and video bombed my interview with Katie at the end when she got all upset and the tears came on and she ran off. Initially started out okay, but then asked some actual real questions as I told her I would. And then she abandoned the interview. Jim Kerr jumps in, activist out there, and I said to him, Jim, why did you lie to people and tell the public in your videos that the birds had not been injected with anything? And he did repeatedly say that. And he said, oh, did I say that? You know damn well you did, because you said it multiple times. These birds haven't been injected with anything. And at that time as well, their social media team, they were out there producing videos, like cartoon style videos to educate the public with the truth, claiming the exact same thing. saying that these birds, they weren't for food, lie, and that they hadn't ever been injected. They weren't being injected with things. That's misinformation. No, they were injected with things a lot. And you deserve to know that. And this whole thing with the bloody antibodies, it's all natural. It's antibodies. It's antibodies. Just think about, like, take it to the next step. What are you going to do with the antibodies for human beings? How does that work? If you took the antibodies, these are facts, okay? If you just extracted the antibodies from an ostrich that have been produced either for bird flu, and research has been done, by the way, into bird flu with ostriches, but not by that farm, by other researchers, particularly in the United States. I found the research going back all the way to the 1990s, where bird flu antibody production has been researched on other ostriches in other real research facilities, not at that farm. They don't have any studies at that farm. That's why they keep losing in court. But I digress. Let me come back. If you extract those antibodies from an egg, how would you use them to make human beings immune to bird flu or even COVID? What do you think you do with those antibodies? Like, what is an antibody? Like, it's a microscopic thing. All right, so you put it in a cream or something and, I don't know, put it on your nose or smear it on your face or put it in a nasal spray. They were talking about that, an aerosolized kind of vaccine thing or something. You squirt it up your nose. That's supposed to help shield you from these illnesses. Maybe, but they don't really have any research to prove that that's the case. Or you can't eat it. Your digestive system destroys the antibodies if you eat it. So that doesn't work. And they've used antibodies, they say, for, therapeutic things, which is to kind of make you feel better. They say it can make hair grow better. It's like a cure-all. Use this for eczema. Use this for, spots on your skin. Use it to make hair grow. That's the one thing. To moisturize your skin, ostrich oil, antibodies, it sounds very cool, sounds very natural. But if you inject ostrich antibodies into a human being, you will frickin' die because your body will reject them. It doesn't work that way. Do you know what you have to do to antibodies from another animal in order to use them in a human? You have to humanize the antibodies. That's what they do when they do research with mice and antibody production and things like that. With other animals, all kinds of animal research, you have to humanize those antibodies. That means you have to manipulate them and then convert them into some sort of usable form, either naturally or through synthetic engineering, in order to make them into some sort of a form where the human body won't reject them. That's not natural. And a lot of the people out at the farm supporting this either don't believe viruses exist, or they're against vaccines, or they've been against, this is the crazy part of all of this. This is exactly the thing that these protesters have been against from the beginning of the pandemic. But they're out there supporting exactly this thing, which is research into the development of vaccines. Whatever you want to do, cool with me, as long as it's done safely, properly, you're following the rules, which they weren't following any of the rules. No permits, no licenses. It's just a free-for-all out there. Do whatever the hell you want. No safety protocols in place whatsoever. None. Just running an open-air biolab. Not actually doing the research themselves out there because they're not scientists. They were just producing the antibodies for the research, handling the antigens. But you go look it up. It's all out there. I've shown you. if you're handling these kinds of things, you're supposed to have like biosecurity lab protocols in place at various levels, depending on what exactly you're handling, to make sure that it's done safely so that the stuff doesn't even come into contact with the skin of the people who are administering this stuff. But they just talk about walking around out in the open, just no gloves, no PPE of any kind, just injecting this stuff into the birds repeatedly. And we know that they've been exposed to the virus themselves because they've had blood tests and they've been exposed as human beings. Bird flu, the risk to humans at this point, very low. Very few human beings ever having been infected with mutated versions of this thing, but it's still a risk. And more than that, it's not so much a risk to human beings at this point. It's about spreading it to other farms, other animals. And human exposure to that facilitates the transport of the virus to other locations. And people say, well, the ducks have it. Yeah, but you don't go out and handle a duck every day, do you? No. We don't have human to wildlife interaction or contact that much. So that's much less of a risk. But at a farm, a contained facility, concentration of the disease in one place, an entire flock exposed, if not fully infected, and the testing did happen. I mean, I can go on and on about this stuff. And Phil Primo, thank you for calling this out. Something I called out months ago. And Pat King, Freedom George, Joe Dolan, they're cluing in. They're dialing in on this stuff too. And I've noticed that the mob has descended on them as well, unfairly, because they're just asking questions just like I have been. And attacked. Got to shut that walker down permanently. Yeah, screw you, Mr. Censorship. Like, seriously. This is my job. And I'm standing here and I'm standing up to it because I am not going to lie for people who are out there lying. I'm not going to cover their butt. I'm not going to I'm not a backstabber. I don't owe anything to anybody out there. I owe the truth to you because I'm here to serve the public. That's it. That's it. And in the long run, the truth pays off. Because eventually, lies catch up. Damn right. I learned a long time ago, you don't go down that road. You want the clicks, you want the social media following. Okay, maybe you just do what seems to be popular at the time. You just go with the flow, baby. Even if you know it's not right. Okay? No. Not me. Because I've seen people come in this business, media. People come, people go. People come, people go. I've been in this a long, long time. I'm so old. And I've had times when I've had lots of people who know who I am. And, been lots of FaceTime on television. I'm not chasing the glory. I don't need the spotlight. I've been there, man. Such as it is, regionally, there's some national exposure. I don't care. It is what it is, and it's fleeting. But the key to everything in this business is survival. Not like out at the farm. I mean, surviving in this business means it comes down to this: integrity, tell the truth, and you'll be okay in the long run. But I've seen lots of people, flashes in the pan, one-hit wonders, people who latch on to things because they're riding a wave of popularity, something that's, very, popular at the moment. And they'll, okay, you compromise yourself. It's going to come back and bite you. It's going to get you. Don't do it. But they did. And they're still doing it. Still doing it out there. That's okay. You keep on doing it. You keep on spinning your little web of lies. I'm going to sit right here. And I've been here alone. The people talking to me, the things people have said. Wow. Nasty. But that's okay. Been there before. Not going to lie. Big protest, I guess, coming up, I think tomorrow at RCMP headquarters because Jim Kerr got accidentally on purpose arrested. Oh, Rick, did you say that? Yes, I did. He live streamed going behind the fence set up by the CFIA and RCMP. Very, so clear. You're not supposed to go behind the fence. And then he starts pushing some bird seed toward the ostriches, which are on the other side of this police tape, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you did it on purpose, man, because it was a political stunt. You're making a point, and now he gets arrested, and then he has to sign a paper promising he won't go back to the farm. So now he's camping out someplace nearby in the woods. I'm like, I guess. So I see this video that he puts up yesterday, and he's, I'm going to set up camp over here, and the protest continues because it's clear to me my purpose in life is, oh, for crying out loud. You lied about the birds being ejected, got called out on that. You're still out there spinning it up, spinning the narrative. You're all part of it, and now you're stuck in the woods out there someplace. I don't know what he's going to achieve out there. I guess observe the farm from afar or whatever. But now because he got arrested, there's another activist out of the farm who I guess is encouraging people to go and protest at RCMP headquarters because of the injustice for Jim Kerr getting accidentally on purpose arrested. Oh, and it just keeps on getting better. So this being arranged by, I think it's the guy who burned the Canadian flag, by the way, which we were told initially, oh, that never happened. That wasn't real. That wasn't us. Yes, it was. And then when it came out, oh, yeah, I guess it was. One of the protesters burned the Canadian flag. And now this same guy going to the RCMP headquarters, and they're expecting a big crowd, I guess, tomorrow for this thing. This is why it's getting out of hand. Because, look, I hate to do this, but you shouldn't go. I'm telling people right now, bad idea to go. Why? Because look at what's being posted on social media in response to the social media calls for people to go out there. Bad idea. Look, all those cops right here, just read what it says. I believe this is a relative of the organizer. All those cops deserve a something to the head because they are all brain dead anyway. Or anyways, she says. Does that sound like it's going to be a peaceful protest? I mean, really? And I keep telling people, I've been saying this for years now, be careful what you post online. Going to come back and haunt you. They're monitoring, they're looking, and you're really dumb if you say things like that online. You're kind of dumb also to live stream yourself doing something that might get you in trouble or get you arrested. Whether, but you really want to go and you want to challenge that in court. If it's that important to you, where the police line really is, whether it's, 12 inches this way or that way, and you want to take that to court, is the police line that you're not supposed to cross where the fence is or where the yellow tape is? Well, that's worth getting arrested for. No, you weren't. That's a political stunt. But you can donate, I'm sure, to help with his legal fund, if you want to. He's going to need the money, especially when he has to travel probably back to a courtroom in BC where I don't think he lives. I don't know what level of ticket that is. Is that a JP or is that an actual judge? I'm not sure. In any event, I'm not sure what the level of offense is because it's under the CFIA regulations. But it didn't stop there. There was another one too. Oh, here it is here. Here's another post with regard to the big protest tomorrow at RCMP headquarters. This is why you lose me, man. This stuff right here. Rick, why don't you support them? You should get on board and encourage people to go. No, don't go to the frickin' farm. Bad idea. That's where I stand on it. That's me editorializing, fine. And it's not that I want the birds dead, but you deserve the truth so you can make your own best judgment. And I don't think people should go to this protest tomorrow when you have people saying, bring your guns. Bad idea. And then you wonder why they have so many police out at the farm. It's totally unnecessary. Why are they spending so much to send the RCMP out here? Because of idiots like that. When people post things like that, they have to take it seriously. So they have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And that's the stuff that's been going on for a long time. You know it. I know it. You just deny it because maybe you're in favor of it, or you're supporting bad actors, bad behavior. No, not me. That's stupid. Let's go to RCMP headquarters and bring guns? Duh. Or like, what the hell is that? Yeah, okay. It's odd. It's stupid out there. And they're not being honest. Let's take a break. We're coming back. More to come. Here we go.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity. The Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. It custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Okay, I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to open the phone lines up. If someone's out of line, I will hang up on you. Okay? Just letting you know, because my patience is, well, it's been, how can I put this? I'm just going to do that. So behave yourself. Here we go. Let me just run this while we get ready for the onslaught.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Here's the number to call. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. Okay. I'll be right back after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, and we are ready to start taking calls. Phone system is now fired up, and I think we've got our first caller on the line. Let's see where we're at here. And we'll bring our first caller in. Are you there, sir? Aha.
Ian.
Okay, there. Ian. Ian's on the line
Yes,
from Montreal. Welcome, sir. Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
So you're our first.
Was a long due.
I'm sorry, what's that?
It was a long time due.
Yes, well, we haven't been to the phones for a little while, but I'm glad you're here tonight. So where would you like to begin? What do you want to talk about, sir, on this Open Line Sunday?
Well, how about we go science politic for a moment?
Okay.
Because I think that, well, what are we seeing right now with Donald Trump and what he's doing with social media and the way that people are being fed, if you will, by emotion to, well, say, ferment together if you will, or band up together. This is a form of populism, isn't it?
It is a form of populism, yes.
And where am I going with that? Like the conversation we had a little bit earlier. Well, this is where I think we can draw parallels with the past, where actually it can comes to a form of ultra-nationalism or something like that. Because, well, in the example of the U.S., what we have against, ICE and whatnot, this is kind of not looking good.
Yeah, it's not looking good. There is definitely an authoritarian tone to all of this. We're seeing people rounded up without due process for sure, as we see these deportations taking place. Seeing what's going off the coast, on in with Venezuela right now. Foreign interference in the political process down there, rightly or wrongly, it's certainly happening. We're seeing the opposition leader in Venezuela, even tonight, calling for more international intervention. I don't know how appropriate that is. I suppose it depends on whether you believe the election was stolen by Maduro. Anyway, that's kind of more international. But back, domestically within the United States, certainly the Trump administration, proceeding with a form of politics that we've never really seen here before, because as you and I have discussed, and I've highlighted on the program, we're seeing a hybrid form of political ideology, convergence, if you will, right, of communism and even fascism, I would say.
It is akin actually to fascism and maybe even, I would say, authoritarianism to the complete sense of the term. Because technocracy at the point, and I will even dare to say cyberocracy, which is another term we'll use tonight. Technocracy is, on its core, as a science politic model, it's authoritarianistic. Because what happened is that you got your freedom and right, constitutional right wherever you are, till something happened. Till the crisis happened, like COVID, for example, where you have to get in line, do whatever we say because the expert told you so, right? And the expert is not someone that you have voted for. So, this is how it is. And cyberocracy, basically, it's how the use of the narrative on social media or in media in general to frame things to get you to your emotional state, basically. And you go basically into a sort of a state of mind where your cognitive bias is prevail on the forefront.
I think partly what you're getting to here too with the Trump administration through this populism is a dysfunctional group of people within even the administration itself, because of the convergence. Well, there is this desire to sort of bring the left and the right together. When they meet, they, as much as I have always argued, they are really all over on the far left of the political spectrum and the authoritarian side. When they come together, there are certain distinct differences in the ideology that make them incompatible, which is why they tend to fight. So when you do bring them together, it becomes dysfunctional. And the only way in the end to create cohesion is through, by default, a degree of authoritarianism. Because you can't really develop consensus within the group, so you need an authority figure or an authoritarian at the top of the group to just dictate what the group is going to do ultimately, which is where this unitary executive theory or power comes into play with the Trump administration, where that is what Trump has done. He's purged political enemies from within the administration and the bureaucracy. He has used executive power to acquire more executive power so that he can really dictate and rule with a Sharpie through executive order, not through legislation, not through approval from other levels of government and cooperation to develop legislation. It's just executive orders. And he has signed, I can't remember how many now, but certainly hundreds and hundreds. And you saw at the beginning of his new administration, he sat there at that table and they made a big deal of it. And he just signed one executive order after another, after another, after another, all day long. And it's continued since then. So that he transforms the country as a singular power. If Trudeau had done that, if Carney was doing that right now in Canada, people would be up in arms. They're up in arms now. And yet the Prime Minister of Canada, through our parliamentary system, doesn't have anywhere near that kind of power. Certainly not authoritarian in nature, or there's no unitary power there. The Prime Minister basically gets one vote, but because of power within his own party, and because he is the prime minister, he does get to use the whip, if you will, to get other members of his caucus and other sitting MPs on his side to vote, because he has other means to sort of keep his members of parliament in line. But he can't just sign an executive order. He's created that image for people here in Canada, and there's been a degree of that leading up to the current sitting of Parliament, and in the absence of a budget. But we're now going to get a budget in November, and he has to get that approved. And so there are checks and balances in place on the Canadian side and within the Canadian system that don't exist down there in the U.S. A lot of people seem to like that authoritarian approach right now because they feel it's the only way they can get what they want, ultimately, because they don't see democracy as being an option for them anymore in order to achieve their political goals, because they don't feel they have the numbers. They feel, especially because of, let's face it, they're saying that it's because of immigration that they're outnumbered and that there'll never be another conservative government elected or whatever. That's why they want these people deported largely too, is because they want to skew the numbers. This is in effect a way of sort of counter-rigging the system, if you want to look at it through that lens, after accusing the Democrats of rigging the system the other way.
It's part of the
information
warfare.
Sorry, go ahead, Dragon. What?
I think it's part of the information warfare.
Oh, yeah.
Because the idea of cyberocracy is information warfare. We're in a hybrid warfare right now. Whether we like it or not, it's probably already World War III, but not the kind of World War that we thought it would be back in the days. So, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, keep on talking. I've got to send myself a couple of little links here. Somebody's sending me some breaking news.
Oh, breaking news.
Yeah.
Well, so my idea about what we're living in or what we're experiencing is a form of neo-populism because of the way that, or techno-populism actually, because of the way that the populism is being, how you would get your people around through social media, right? So the social media and the technology of today present the techno part of populism, and which is also a part of how nowadays everyone will complain about what's going on. They will complain online. They don't have just to send a letter to their administration or the government, basically. They just have to go out loud online and say what they think. So that's part of the neo-populism or techno-populism. And it's also a branch of cyberocracy to a certain degree.
What do you mean by cyberocracy?
Well, cyberocracy is how you use the narrative or the rhetorical strategy from, say, social media and mainstream media in general that they will use against your emotion. Basically, how they will just cipher your emotion through that sort of messaging. Like, for example, Trump always say about these enemy, the enemy of the state or the enemy of the people, those kind of words. So when you try to divide people, this is a form of division, or it's a form of narrative that you create so you can control even more a form of population, or a portion of the population.
Yeah, so I think we were also talking about censorship, right? Did you want to address the censorship and legislation surrounding censorship on the internet? Was that one of the subjects you wanted to kind of bring up tonight?
Oh, you're talking about or referring about Bill C-8, which there's, well, where I think there's some social media, and I would say mostly independent media today, that talks about that as an attack against freedom of speech. But actually, I'm probably going to contradict this, because what the government probably is doing is trying to make sure that the information warfare or the misinformation is controlled to a certain degree. But to what extent is that where our freedom of speech has been stifled? This is probably where it goes. But, we got to think about it twice, I think. What do you think, Rick?
Well, I've had some people, and I'm doing this while I'm trying to send myself links. So my brain is doing three things at once here. I think that Canada is under attack through information warfare. I think we're attacked online from various countries, China, other countries too, but mainly in a way from the United States, because of Trump and his 51st state rhetoric, which is clearly very real at this point. People were dismissing it before, but no, it's real. And I think that he would very much like to turn at least Alberta, if not all of Canada, into the 51st state. So as a result, in Canada, you get a government that can't come right out and express concerns about the United States and their influence on Canada in these negative ways, because that would almost be seen by the U.S. administration as a declaration of war. But Canada does put measures in place to minimize the risk or the impact from such social media measures. And what we're seeing is, people are concerned about government overreach in terms of censorship through bills like C8, which is, I think, the new legislation that says that Canadians might lose access to the internet, right? If you post anything that is deemed to be, I guess, in opposition to government or whatever people are saying that is. I haven't read the legislation or proposed legislation yet.
From what I've read, it's basically if you become a security problem for the country, this is where you might be cut off from the internet. That's basically the nutshell of it.
Yeah. So I think that the reason they're putting that in place is likely because they see these foreign influence threats, right? And so I think that's a very real thing. It's difficult for any government to deal with it. You're certainly seeing heightened concerns about that, even especially in Europe, where they're concerned about foreign interference, and even in places like Romania and other countries on the borders of Russia, where you see heavy influence and infiltration through information warfare by Russia in those countries to influence elections. But here in Canada, government very concerned about it. So they put these regulations or these kinds of provisions in place. And it does present a concern for freedoms here for us. I also understand on the other side why government is doing things like that. But where is the balance? And here's the other thing that I think we should be as concerned about or more concerned about, and that is the power that these social media companies, and certainly the people who control those social media companies, people like Elon Musk or these technocrats, the power that they have over us because they control the algorithms. They, therefore, are the arbiters of issues like censorship. They are the ones who control what you see or don't see through their algorithms. They decide what videos pop up in your feed or don't pop up in your feed. They can absolutely influence elections and control elections in foreign countries, and they're doing it. We've heard them talking about it. Steve Bannon has come right out and talked about how Elon Musk using X is influencing elections all through Europe right now. So those are the things we need to be equally or even more concerned about, because there's no legislation that governs at this point what those technocrats are doing. We've seen the United States saying to Canada, we will not trade with you unless you get rid of these regulations against our American social media companies. And if you don't get rid of these restrictions or regulations or taxes, then, you know, we're going to impose these massive tariffs on this industry or punitive damages on that industry. And so the United States wants Canada left wide open to all of this kind of flow of information back and forth across the border. And if you go back all through Canadian history, and certainly since the development of radio and television, the Canadian Radio Telecommunications Commission, the federal body that licenses television radio stations, governs what comes into the country and so on. We've had Canadian content rules. We've had different kinds of regulations in place and even government funding. And we created a state broadcaster, the CBC, in order to offset the massive influence that we get from U.S. media, the media powerhouse that is in place in the United States through Hollywood, through major U.S. broadcasting companies, many of which are right on the border and then beam right into Canada. You even see that influence right now through that John Katzimatidis, who owns WABC Radio. He's a billionaire in New York City. He has that radio station that covers all of New York State, also beams into much of Canada, and he's influencing Canadian opinion, even out at that farm in Edgewood, British Columbia, where he's injected himself into that whole debate out there, right? And
which is a form of foreign interference.
It absolutely is. And so, but then when the Canadian government takes steps on this side to minimize the impact or to make sure that we have Canadian-oriented media up here, they get criticized now. And it's interesting to me too, Ian, that a lot of the influencers who lead the charge, who are leading the charge right now against Bill C-8, and I'm not in favor of censorship, don't get me wrong, but the people who are leading the charge are influencers, Canadian influencers, many of whom have actually moved to the United States, who have clearly advocated for Canada becoming the 51st state in one way or another, on one level or another, including influencers like Viva Fry, who would be some of the others that come to mind. I think Mr. Sunshine Baby.
Yeah,
Mr.
Sunshine Baby is one of them.
All these guys, right? Oh, Bill C-8, it's the most evil thing ever, but they never criticize, from what I'm seeing anyway, very, very rare for them to criticize what Trump does or what the U.S. administration does, even on their own side, as they assert authoritarian measures, come up with policies that are equally, censorship oriented, or maybe even more so, where they talk about shutting down political dissidents. Like, you can't tell me that Trump hasn't engaged in high levels of censorship as they they're literally like banning books from libraries. So,
Yeah, well,
very hypocritical and disingenuous.
You remember what I was saying since last November to a certain degree. What Trump is now going into is the, anti-constitutional territory right now. And what you were basically warning us, and I mean, I was one of them that was foreseeing, if you will, the same way that you were telling us what would look like the deportation process. And look at what you said. It's look exactly what it is. And you were right on the point. So, I mean, what does that look like? It's unconstitutional to the core. I mean, he's breaking every path between the legislative and executives, and basically breaking all that through, the social media, because he's breaking all the level of judiciary, if you will, to get through that, if that makes sense.
Even his tariffs, enacted through unitary executive power, may not be constitutional. That is going to the Supreme Court as he tries to say, no, I'm allowed to do this. I have what they're calling, I think they're referring to it as plenary power, which is to say that it sort of consolidates all this power, gives it to the president, and he gets to make these calls on whether tariffs are enacted or not. But some of this sovereignty over this area or authority, jurisdiction, actually, I think, does reside at the state level because it affects state economies. And we'll see what happens. That is one of the reasons, I think, too, you're seeing on the Canadian side with the negotiating team. They've been, somewhat reserved in what they're doing because I think a lot of these countries are sitting back waiting to see what the decision on the constitutionality of the tariffs will ultimately be. I'm not sure that Trump is going to get what he wants, but it also depends at this point on whether the Supreme Court judges, who are just human, will bend the knee or stand up and rule against Trump. We'll see how much will they actually have and how brave they are, because there are tools now in place because Trump has enriched himself with such power that he may actually be able to go up against some of these Supreme Court justices if they rule against him, right? So there's a degree of fear there, which is the hallmark of authoritarianism.
Yeah, it is. And actually, I think even fascism to a certain degree.
Yeah, well, that's that comes just with the territory. It comes by default. Whether, in my view, if you have a communist government, a fascist government, because they're not really, they're not democratic by nature, and therefore it just comes automatically with a degree of authoritarianism. If not outright authoritarianism, they devolve into that very quickly. And especially in this new hybrid political ideology that we're seeing through this neo-populism, which is a convergence of these political ideologies, you're seeing this autocratic, technocratic, or not autocratic, technocratic hybrid I call it communo-fascist populism. Just for short, it's a neo-populism, a new form of populism converging these ideologies. But as I said, to make it cohesive, to keep it glued together because it's dysfunctional at where they meet and clash, these different related but different ideologies, to keep the cohesion there, you need an authoritarian at the top of it.
Yeah.
Then
you need also to centralize the power.
Well, that's what he's doing. Yeah, absolutely. You're right, because that's purging political opposition from the bureaucracy so that you only have people in place within the bureaucratic structure who will carry out your orders and no one's going to stand in your way when you pass, when you sign an executive order and you say, this is the policy, this is the law now, this is the way that we're going to administer this tax rule or this program, and this is the way it's going to be paid out, and no one will stand in opposition to it if they're your political ally within the bureaucracy itself, which is just, the people in the offices, the government offices, who most of whom are out of work right now because it's shut down. But that's how you make sure that your executive orders are carried out. Anybody within the bureaucracy, you might say, wait a minute, this isn't right. We shouldn't do that this way. And then they challenge it legally on some level or try to do an end run around you using bureaucratic red tape, which is what we saw in the first administration. That's what sort of hogtied him, but he learned his lessons. And now he's surrounded by people who have, through Project, 2025, they've come up with a plan, and they've been executing it in very efficiently, so that they're rolling this thing out at a rapid pace. And it's continued from the day it started, even before he took office, and it's just continued since then at a breakneck pace.
Well, I'm going to remind people that back in 2016, on his first presidency, everybody in the social media or even mainstream media were like, okay, Trump only surrounding himself by yes men. Remember the term yes men?
Oh, yeah, I know.
People always say yes, and people don't remember that, but this is what it was back in 2016. So now we have the same thing again, but people don't clue in. People are just pricing for it. So, I mean, this is the same thing that you were saying earlier, and that's cognitive biases or cognitive, another type of thing. Basically what you're getting at is that, like what you get with the ostriches, people will fight for basically some okey pokey, I will say, because I don't want you to get banned or something on YouTube. But yeah, you get the okey pokey, and basically they're against everything at the on the Ottawa convoy. But at the end of the day, they will just praise for the okey pokey that you get from the ostrich research. So make up your mind, guys. Where are we at?
So this is the breaking news, that I mentioned. This is, I'm just going to bring this up on the screen. You won't be able to see it, Ian, but, okay, so let me just get this screen down here. Hang on a second. I'm going to run some video of a fire on a mountain, some sort of wildfire. Hang on just a moment. So many things to click on here. Okay, let's get that down off the screen and bring this up. People can't hear you at the moment, I don't think, Ian. So just so you're aware while I run this video. It's in Quebec. Where is this located? Breaking news. Here's another angle or another piece of video from the fire. I'm just trying to get you an exact location. It's in Quebec. 45 minutes from the reserve in Maniwaki. And I'm not exactly sure how to describe the exact location, but this has just been sent to me. What am I looking at here? Reservoir de Palgon. Lac du Castor Blanc. I don't know where this is. I have a little map, and I don't know exactly where it's looking at it. Do you have an idea where that is? Okay, so Chemin de Blue Sea. I don't know what that means. Let me see if maybe I get, it's in Gracefield, Quebec. So I think I might have a map of some kind. I think I sent that to myself. See if I can find that for you here. Bring you back up so people can hear you again for the moment. Dragon? Ian? I keep calling you. I want to call you by your real name, not your handle. Okay, video. Let's see here. That's all video. So not sure how to get this up. So let me just, let me take a little break here. We'll come back on the other side and I'll see if I can get you a map so you know where this wildfire is breaking out tonight. And this is all like just pretty much live. It's video recorded, but it's all happening in real time, sent to me. And we'll come back on the other side of this. And I'll see if I can get you the location.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, so I'm back. Again, I'm going to put this up on the screen, this shared slide, which, Dragon, that takes you off the screen, Ian, so people can't hear you at the moment, but you can still hear me. This is the map of what we're talking about. And so again, you can see this is like it's Gracefield, Quebec, wherever that is. I'll try and get you a different map after this one. Lac du Castor Blanc. I don't know where this is. This is a screenshot. So where would you say, give me an idea of where this is. How close would this be, say, to like a major city? Give me a major city. Ottawa? Okay. See if I can get you this other video coming up. Gracefield, Quebec. Let me just get a map of where that is. Okay, here's Gracefield. So I'm going to bring the map up. Oh, there's one there. Maybe I'll bring this map up. Reservoir Bagon. Okay, so take this down. Bring this up. I'm going to bring you back up on the screen. And what I'll do is I'll bring it in over here so that it's in the same system as the phone system. And maybe people can see that on the screen now. So let's... So there it is there. I'm going to zoom out. So there's Gracefield there. It's near there. And as I zoom out, we can see from the map, where is Gracefield in relation to a major city? There it is, Ottawa. So there's Maniwaki there, and there's Ottawa there. So that's where this is happening. This is up on a...
Oh, you're closer from Ottawa, I can see.
Yeah. So you say it's about an hour. So I guess about an hour north, I guess?
Yeah, maybe two.
Of Ottawa. Okay.
Because if you look from Montreal is, well, yeah. It's on the other side of the map, so yeah.
Another piece of video of the fires. Let me just bring that up. I have to download it and then load it up into the system so that everybody can see it. Going to take me a moment. There it is there. I have to grab it. Doing all this production on the fly. Okay, 5501. And okay, I've got that loaded so I can run the video over here. And this will take you off the screen again, Ian. Briefly, while I get this video for people to see. 551551. This is a new piece, I believe. I believe it's this one. And there you go. Yeah, shot closer. And it looks like it's fairly close to some buildings too. So hopefully that doesn't spread to an area where it will affect people's homes or businesses. Yeah.
The fire line.
Yeah, so very close to some buildings. So that's very concerning. And that breaking news right here tonight out of Quebec. So, and it's 1 hour from Ottawa.
Well, I just hope that the people from Quebec will be safe tonight.
Yeah, I hope so as well. I hope so too. And that being said, this kind of rounds us off to the top of the hour. So with that, why don't you give us one of your best French Donald Trump impressions as we get ready to sign off this evening?
Well, again, it was an tremendous, incredible week. I mean, I did something nobody has done. I'm just putting the peace everywhere. I mean, peace is everywhere now because Trump is in the motion. And you know what? It's Trump. Go Trump. Just say it. I'm the best of the world. And on that, I'll just let you with Rick because Rick, as always, the best word of the end.
All right, and I appreciate that. You cracked me up with your Donald Trump French accent. It's actually it's hilarious. Thank you, Ian, for joining us on the program tonight, and thank you all for tuning in to tonight's Maverick News broadcast. We'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern.
On the flip side.
The flip side. Let's dance.
Yeah, I'm your hoochie coochie free loving man. Take my hand, girl, I know you can. I'm your hoochie coochie free loving man. Gonna love you, all I can. Well, yeah. Girl, you drive me wild. Oh yeah. Like a crazy child. That's right. Never felt so free.
has been a Maverick Multimedia production.